I still remember that plant tour so clearly. We were walking the floor at this place, Atlas Manufacturing, down in Tennessee, me and my partners, and we were doing what acquirers do, sizing the place up, flagging all the inefficiencies, getting ready to make a deal.
But looking back on it now, I can tell you with 100% certainty, I was focused on all the wrong things. And that mistake, well, it cost us, and it cost us dearly.
So the founder, a guy named Richard, he was walking us through every single station, and he had this quiet pride about him. He wasn't really showing us the machines. He was trying to show us something so much deeper, something I just didn't have the eyes to see back then.
And right here, this was the fundamental disconnect in what we were all looking at. My whole perspective, it was purely about the numbers. I saw old motors and my brain immediately started calculating upgrade costs. I saw processes that just looked like inefficiencies on a spreadsheet. But Richard, he saw the truth of the place. Decades of skill, human systems that were tuned perfectly, and a kind of know-how that you just can't buy or replace.
And this is the most important part. The real value of that plant wasn't on any balance sheet. It was in the people. Every single person on that floor had learned their craft from each other, shoulder to shoulder for years and years. That knowledge wasn't in some manual, it lived inside of them.
So that brings us right to the heart of it, doesn't it? What is this invisible asset? What do you even call this type of knowledge that nobody ever seems to write down? Well, it turns out it has a name. I came across it in this fantastic book by Dan Wang called Breakneck. And when I read the term, I swear, that whole plant tour in Tennessee just came rushing back to me. The book calls it process knowledge.
So what is process knowledge? It's all that hands-on expertise you just can't learn from a textbook. It's the stuff that gets passed from one person to another, a lot of times without even saying a word, over years of just doing the work. It's knowledge that lives in your hands, not just on a page. And this right here just nails it. It's like that classic story of the executive who knew exactly what his company made, but when everything fell apart and he had to rebuild from scratch, he realized he had absolutely no idea how. That huge gap between the what and the how, that's process knowledge. That's where all the real value is hiding. And listen, this isn't just a problem on factory floors, not at all. This exact same dynamic plays out in boardrooms and during massive restructuring plans all the time. It's a huge and, honestly, a really common executive blind spot. Think about it. We look at an org chart, and what do we see? We see headcount, we see salary lines, and our brain immediately translates that into costs. But what are we missing? We miss what those people actually carry. All that institutional memory, the trust they've earned with clients over years, the real-world expertise. We see something that looks like inefficiency, but we're totally missing the wisdom behind it.
And this really is the bottom line. It's so easy to cut what you can count. But the most dangerous cuts you will ever make are the ones where you accidentally throw out decades of wisdom, all because on a spreadsheet, it just looked like waste.
You know what makes this blind spot even worse? Burnout. When you're running on empty, your judgment just narrows. You start optimizing for the easy stuff, the things you can measure, speed, cost, basic ratios, and you lose all your patience for the complex, messy, human things that actually make the whole business work.
And this whole thing is fueled by a very specific cognitive bias I like to call the competence illusion. It's that moment when we trick ourselves into believing that because we understand the financial model, the about of the business, that we have a real, true understanding of how things actually get done on the ground. It's such a dangerous assumption to make.
Okay, so how do you fight this? How do you actually train yourself to see this invisible, absolutely invaluable asset? Well, I've kind of boiled it down to 4 key steps. All right, first up, you have to completely reframe your thinking. Before your brain can even ask what do they cost, you got to train yourself to first ask what knowledge do they carry. Force yourself to see the value before you calculate the expense. Second, you have to consciously slow down. This invisible value, you're not going to find it with a quick glance at a dashboard. It only shows up in conversations, in observation, in really taking the time to understand the messy details of how work actually gets done. Third, you've got to build knowledge transfer into your culture. It has to be a priority. When someone's leaving, their expertise can't just walk out the door with them. Mentorship, documentation, that needs to be a core part of the job, not some afterthought. And finally, number 4, you got to practice some self-awareness. Actively question yourself, am I falling for my own competence illusion right now? Do I really understand how this works, or do I just understand the report about how it works? And the stakes here are just incredibly high. This isn't just about losing an employee or a single team. When you look at the bigger picture, like what's happened with U.S. manufacturing,
It's about the slow erasure of entire ecosystems of expertise. And once that stuff is gone, man, it can take decades to rebuild, if you can even rebuild it at all.
Because there will come a day, maybe, when you have to recreate the very thing you once walked past and dismissed as inefficient or outdated. And that is the day you will finally, and probably painfully, understand exactly what that invisible knowledge was really worth.
So I'll just leave you with this to think about. In your own work, when you're making those big decisions, are you the executive on the floor tour, seeing only the costs on a spreadsheet, or are you really truly seeing what's right in front of you?